Welcome back to the Mackay T Show podcast. It is our season finale episode. As always, I am one of your co-hosts, Brian McKay, and I am with
T Davis.
Yes, indeed. Kicking it right on off, we're going to start with some NBA talk. The NBA Finals are set. You have the Golden State Warriors versus the Cleveland LeBrons. And, I'm sorry, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
It is the LeBron Cavaliers, yes.
Right.
Go ahead.
All right, so basically there's been a lot of media talk about if Cleveland wins the championship this year without Kevin Love, with a hobbled and a very injured Kyrie Irving. There's a lot of media always loves to sensationalize things, but there's a lot of media talk that a win in this championship in this year, the win in the championship will put LeBron permanently in the discussion as the greatest player ever. What say you?
Okay, so we gonna first have a brief talk about this greatest player ever, because there's too many players that have come along that have been great in their eras and great at all times to say ever. Even though, I've never been a Michael Jordan fan, but even if I was gonna say he was the best shooting guard of all time, I mean, you got too many people like Magic. You want to say, okay, well, Magic's the best point guard of all time. Mike's the best shooting guard of all time. Bill Russell, somebody the best power forward of all time. Somebody be like, well, what about Tim Duncan?
Right.
Well, what about Kobe? So I really don't like the best, but no. If you win with these scrubs, the league is terrible. It's terrible. The East is terrible. This has been the most boring playoffs. It's been a couple of fascinating games, but it's been sloppy, turnovers. It haven't been, even last year with Miami, San Antonio, I mean, the way they ran off with Miami, it was, a lot of people liked it because they didn't like Miami, but it wasn't like it was that great after San Antonio. Just like, okay, Kyrie, he'll lock him down, and the rest of these old heads ain't gonna be able to do anything. And it's been pretty much I would say he had a couple of good games, or outstanding games. The rest of the games have been part of how he can and should perform with the God-given gifts he has, but the playoffs just haven't been good. It's making me sad.
I'm just going to throw a stat out there. In the 5 times previous to this will be his 6th, but the 5 times LeBron's made it to the championship series, the NBA Finals, the previous 5 times, he has only had to beat 7 teams coming out of the East that have won 50 or more games. That's telling you something. The East is terrible.
The East is so bad. Again, we talked about this. When Love got hurt, we talked about this. I don't know what episode, but it was basically like, look, dude, longest, and I thought at least they needed Kyrie, but the East is worse than I thought. Because Love, I didn't think was that big part of the equation, because he been on in some games and off when he was playing in the regular season. As long as they had LeBron, they was going to come out of the East. You would think Derrick Rose didn't get back in time enough to get some kind of good deal with Gasol. I don't even think they would have beat him with Pau Gasol not being hurt, but because they just didn't have that chemistry that you need. But the East is terrible. The West beat each other up, and they had a bunch of injuries on that side too. Because OKC, I wouldn't mind seeing OKC play the Warriors with Durant. That is,
right.
That might have been a fun something. The Clippers are the Clippers, just like Magic said, and Houston doesn't want to play defense, and they're never going to be good until they decide they want to play defense and get another guard that can help Harden, because we see he doesn't handle pressure well, or he just was tired from carrying the team all year. I don't know which one it is, and it just hasn't been fun, really. Right.
It's just been a lackluster year, and like you say, the West, all those teams would just beat up on each other, and anybody really could have come out the West, out of those top 2 or 3 teams. any of those could have come out, but just had to be the Warriors because they can score.
When your boy fell after he jumped to block that boy shot, I was like, oh Lord, Houston might win if this boy get hurt and they can't play.
when Steph Curry took his tumble and then they brought him back and he airballed 2 or 3 shots in a row. Yeah, it wasn't looking too good.
I was like, oh Lord, here come another comeback.
Well,
and Cleveland definitely would have beat Houston.
Oh,
they would have put LeBron on the bearded man, and they wouldn't have worried about Howard. Because Thompson and Tristan Thompson and the Russian or whatever they got from, they would have been able to do enough to aggravate and foul him and get him frustrated.
Right, yeah.
I don't know. I hope this is better than the rest of his band.
Yeah, and that's Timothy Mozgov is their center's name. Yeah, and honestly, Kendrick Perkins would have come off the bench and gave Dwight Howard fits. That's how soft he is.
Well, Cleveland is about to dominate that. I don't know if Kevin Love's coming back or not, but if you think they don't even have Anderson Varejao, which is their Energizer Bunny.
Right.
Like if they had him, they would probably be running away with more of these games. Again, like we talked about, barring injury, you just got to stay healthy. But the longer you play, the more injuries can happen. And you saw that with Tristan Thompson getting elbowed in, knee in the head, and now he got concussion. So the longer this goes on, it's gonna be like the last man with a good star win, the last team rather with a star intact wins.
Yeah, it's funny with the Klay Thompson injury. It's almost like Golden State kind of hit the panic button a little bit and throw him back in there. Just because they thought that game might get away from them. I think they would have still.
The Clipper experience.
Yeah, very, very true. Very true. Staying with the NBA, going to Chicago. Yesterday, the word came down that Tom Thibodeau has been fired by the Chicago Bulls, and you and I had talked about it. It's not a surprising move, but it's just so many questions about why and what caused, what was going on behind the scenes with him and management. Obviously, did not get along. Upper management, the executives, there's now they're coming out and they're trashing him and bad talking him in the media when I guess in their mind they believe when, like, say Jeff Van Gundy was very outspoken about them in ABC telecast and ESPN telecast. Their belief is that Tom Thibodeau, being a friend of Jeff Van Gundy, gave Van Gundy that information. Right, and that's where he went to talking about it on air. Now, he never mentioned Tom Thibodeau in his rants, but that's where the Bulls management took it, and that was a lot of the reasons they were having trouble toward the end. I don't.
Some people just want a reason. Yeah.
You got. I know you fine. It's just you got Tom Thibodeau being kind of forced out, obviously, by the Bulls. Right before that, Benny Del Negro, he didn't get along with upper management. I think there was even an altercation between him and John Paxson at some point. They had, they kind of threw down a little bit. And before that, we don't talk about the forgotten years with Tim Floyd and all. They won't talk about those. But even going back to Phil Jackson didn't get along with upper management. At some point, when do the executives for the Bulls take accountability? I guess when they go back to having to hire Tim Floyd and redoing that circus again.
Well, it's just if they've been in the league and they should have been around the league long enough to know you don't get good coaches quite often. And the lack of that success, I don't care how you don't get along. If you're performing on your job and we winning, well, forget what you're saying in the media. As long as you ain't getting us fined. But men in those positions with all the estrogen, that's hilarious. Testosterone, they feel like they can't be challenged. They want everybody to be yes men. Because they'll find out, just like Orlando got rid of Van Gundy and Howard was crying now. Orlando been off and probably be off for a while. Chicago about to have another downfield because, again, it's not like it's a bunch of good coaches out there that's out winning. A lot of the better ones are probably learning how to win now. Like the guy that they fired it down in New Orleans. I don't know if he was a good coach or not, but you know, he did well with the young talent that he had, and he was young. So
yeah, and what's gonna happen is somebody more established is gonna come in and take that job and gonna win with the players he was developing. And it's, you know,
they're gonna do just like Mark Jackson got. They fired Mark Jackson. He got that team to believing that they can win. If Kirk come in, and he probably about to win the championship.
Yeah,
they're gonna forget that Mark Jackson ever took them to 2 playoffs and got them in a position where everybody was like, "Oh, we can do this. We can compete with the best." And
yeah. Yet again, another situation where the coach and upper management didn't get along. Mark Jackson.
Right.
As far as what's next for him, my personal feelings, I'm not Tom Thibodeau, but if I was, they have to pay me my last 2 years of my contract for $9 million. That's $4.5 million a year. I'm sitting at home and I'm taking, I'm taking that money in.
Doing ESPN jobs.
Right, doing ESPN gigs, going around the country and watching practices and developing yourself more, learning more. I mean, there's always a lot to learn.
Yeah.
Right, and just
being an analyst. I'm sure it's fun on some level getting the not being on the other side of the criticism and usually coaches that know they want to coach again try not to say too much. You can kind of tell that they are speaking with a measured tongue, for lack of a better word. But just be an analyst and take their money and rest.
Right. And I mean, if he really wants to coach, that New Orleans Pelican gig, like we said, young team, got one of the top 5 players in the league right now. Got a bunch of young kids to go with him. That would be a nice landing spot for somebody, especially as defensive minded as he is.
Or he can go look, now I'm being selfish. Or he can go work with the Lakes. They need some help, and I know that they talked about transition and making some moves in assistant coaches wise.
Yeah.
Because Lord, they need some help. They can't go at nobody.
If he's going to LA to go with the Lake Show, he better call Jenny Buss and tell her to come with him.
Right.
Oh man, but as far as Baboons, I think my theme song is just going to have to be that song from what's the name of the movie? What's the name of the movie? Beyonce and Jennifer Hudson and the musical that they did, Dreamgirls.
Dream Girl.
Yes, my the song Keith Robinson and Eddie Murphy and Jennifer Hudson,
Lord.
Patience.
Oh Lord,
Patience.
Not Eddie character.
That's gonna be.
What was his name? Oh Lord, I can see his
Jimmy Early. Jimmy Early. That's gonna have to be my theme song until we get things going. Because if they hire Fred Hoiberg, I'm gonna cry.
I don't even know why. Like, how do you go from a winning coach again to somebody that was mediocre at best? I don't even know if you have a 500 record coach.
Yeah.
And then you spend all this money, and I guess you got Derrick Rose, which when is his contract up? But you got a big contract on him.
Right.
You brought in Powell. And now you about to have a learning curve, and it ain't like you bringing in Phil Jackson. If anybody, they should have went after the OKC coach.
Yeah. Scott Brooks, yeah. Well,
Powell ain't gonna just sit around and wait for y'all to get better again. He ain't young enough to do it. And God knows you don't know if Derrick Rose's legs or body gonna hold up, how long that's gonna last. So
right.
You don't have time for no learning curve.
Right.
They should have stuck with what they had, because if they had just stuck around and hoped that boy had a comeback, they would have been better next year with the pieces and tried to keep Jimmy Butler, which apparently Rose and Jimmy, which we can talk about on another episode, didn't get along. That's what rumor have. But anyhow.
Right. Well, I think that's going to take us to our first break. When we come back, we're going to jump into a little NCAA talk. Mr. Jabrill Peppers, a defensive back from the University of Michigan, went on a little Twitter rant, and we'll jump.
Right,
We'll jump into that on the other side. But as always, thank you for listening, and we will be right back. Welcome back to the Mackay T Show podcast, our season finale episode. NCAA. Over the past week, Jabrill Peppers, a defensive back from the University of Michigan, went on a little Twitter rant, and I want to pull it up right now because I want to make sure I get exactly what he said right.
Oh, Lord.
Here are some of his tweets. IDK, how the NCAA thinks we supposed to eat right with these little indentured servant checks they give us. I should have stayed in the dorm. Shaking my head. SMH. Another one, he said, apparently he's responding to someone, and he says, I'm about to eat. Are you talking about he about to eat his first meal of the day, and it's oodles and noodles? Shaking my head. SMH.
No.
And then he responds to another tweet and says, it ain't funny, bro. LOL. I'm over here hurting. This is my last one out the 12 pack. And then he puts and he just goes on and on, tweet after tweet after tweet, complaining. And here's my take on it. College athletes, this is where, like, when you see that 30 for 30 documentary on the professional athletes going broke, this is where it starts. Because these guys, let me clarify and say that I don't know this to be Jabrill Peppers' case, but I've seen plenty of, being in the business, at one time in my life, I saw plenty of instances where these college athletes are using this money on everything except for what it's supposed to be for your books, for your food, for your off-campus housing. And they're using it on the latest, the most expensive cell phone, buying themselves new cars, clothes, jewelry, and even giving it, to family and friends, their little entourage, and, people that ask for it. And at the end of the month, they can't pay their rent. I mean, these checks that they get, I'm not going to lie and tell you that my first official job in the NCAA world, when I was video coordinator, these checks they get per month was more than what I was getting with my salary check when I first started. So I know how much they get. They get a ton. And
they get a substantial amount of money, and they waste it. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm there. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. There are other cases to be made where I'm not gonna name names, but I know athletes that used that money the way it was meant to be used, saved it on some occasions, and were able to buy all these nice things for themselves after they graduated. I mean, there's other cases for that, but Jabrill, I'm not gonna say that I know that for a fact to be his case, but I know athletes that complain and say they don't have enough money, and that's usually the reason why, because they're spending it so frivolously and so just carelessly.
Well, Brian won't say it, but I will. Look, he don't wasted his money. He is not at Troy University in Alabama or Elon or none of these little bitty schools where he might not be getting as much money. He is at the University of Michigan. Number one, they have to pay you enough to pay for an apartment, so your rent should always be covered. They give you enough money for food, for lunch, and they got a set price on what you can eat for breakfast. $10.99. I'm just making up numbers here, people.
Right.
For lunch, $17.99. For dinner, you can eat something worth $20, and they have that for the month. Now, if you decide you want the new Jordan and the i6, 7, 8, or whatever is out now, and you need a MacBook, an iPad, iPod, and all the new gadgets, and then you got to rob Peter to pay Paul at the end of the month, and your stomach growling, that's your fault. Because they give them plenty to eat. Not to mention that when they go to most of them, like a school like Michigan, that means he can eat as much as he wants when he in there. And so he's wasted his funds and trying to play broke. Like, for all the people that don't know, unlike Brian and myself and the other people in the world that have actually played sports or been around sports, he's just wasted his money.
Oh,
so yeah, Brian won't say it, but I will. He's wasted his money, people. Don't believe the foolishness. It's just another human back at it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame to see and to hear complaints like that, and he's not the first. You know, there's been many complaints in the last few years about, you know, the checks not being enough, and it's a shame to hear that, because they're more than enough, and they're just throwing it away on ridiculous stuff that they don't need.
Yes, and so again, if they was at Troy now, and I know some of these smaller institutions, they might be struggling a little bit because they probably not getting as much money. Number two, like if you're a football guy and they train you to eat so much, you might can't afford to eat like you could, but you probably can afford to eat like you should. And so this is one of them opportunities for you to learn how to eat a proper diet and not eat like you working out and doing as much as you would during season. Because I know they feed you every time they can when they in season.
Right.
I was tired of eating once. I was like, how many times a day can we eat?
Right. Yeah, so, you know, and they're working out and working all that food off, but the staff is not, and the staff gaining weight because, yeah, like you said, they get meals every time they turn around, and that's the other thing. Y'all glad you brought that up, because on top of that money, they're getting all these meals, and, you know, given to them by the director of operations and things like that. Given, you know, all these meals that they're getting on the school on the team's dime.
Yeah,
that they're not having to pay for.
Yes, and then you still get your check. It ain't like when they feed you pregame and they even do it before the day before the game. That night they feed you, because now somebody trying to figure out that really you get a lot of your energy from the food that you eat previously, not right before the game. But anyhow, they feeding you so many times that if you save that money when they give you that $10, $20, $30 or whatever it is after the game, you save it now. When you know how you eat, you'll have some money in the bank. And start buying Jordan. Not that Jordan's the only thing to buy. In True Religion, $500 and $100, $300 jeans, which is ridiculous, but that's not what we're talking about. But that's the kind of stuff that they spend money on.
Right.
And then, but you never see them in it, because when I see athletes on our campus, they always have on the athletic gear. Now, I don't go out with the nightlife. That's probably when I see them in their J's and like True Religions or whatever the new jeans are now. But, yeah, don't believe the hype, people. That boy is not starving. He is at the University of Michigan. Again, if he was at some little school, he might be a little bit hungry. But
right.
He ain't starving. He wasting his money away.
After we did the segment on the E60 documentary on the WWE's NXT developmental system, I received a lot of emails and a lot of tweets from fans asking for more WWE talk, little sports entertainment, little wrestling. So, hey, I can always oblige that. I'm an avid fan, like I said before, and I really enjoy it. So I wanted to go ahead and make this little segment for a preview of the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view that's coming on the WWE Network this Sunday. It's only 2 weeks out from their last pay-per-view, which was Payback. It's a short time for the writers to kind of get storylines involved and have matches planned, things like that, and just to sell the story. But I think, honestly, that's probably a good thing in this case, because it's keeping them on their toes, and they seem to have done a very good job. Now, the wrestlers as well, they have to perform, and they've done an excellent job in, getting everybody, excited about this upcoming pay-per-view on Sunday. But I just want to kind of run through the matches, kind of give my take on each one, what I think about each, just little predictions on each one. Starting with the mid-card matches, you got Neville versus Bo Dallas, and this is a rematch of two former NXT champions, and it was Neville that actually took the belt from Bo Dallas a couple of years ago when Bo Dallas was being brought up to the main roster, WWE roster. It was their match where he actually took that belt from him, and then when Bo Dallas moved up to the main roster, and Neville went on a lengthy run as the NXT champion before eventually losing to Sami Zayn when Neville was going to be called up to the main roster. So now both of them are on the main roster. They've kind of rekindled this feud, and I thought it was very good in NXT. I think it has a chance to be very good on this side because both performers are very, they're really good performers. They get out there, they do their job. Bo Dallas has been kind of flailing since he's been on the main roster. Hasn't really hit his peak. Hadn't really done very much. Kind of like a sideshow, a comedy act, basically. So hopefully this is something that'll kind of re-energize him and repackage his character a little bit to be more believable, get more over with the fans. Neville is a young up-and-comer from England. He's awesome to watch. I saw him perform live when they came to Biloxi their last time here, when the SmackDown taping was here. And he's awesome live. I mean, I know he looks great on TV when he's flying through the air, and his nickname since he moved up to the main roster is the man that gravity forgot, and he plays that up perfectly because he can do all kind of things. And I mean, his finish is the Red Arrow, which is like a 450 splash off the top rope, and it's like I said, it's great to see live, and I really think he has a great future in the WWE, and I think he will win this one. Just based on where they are on the card, I think he's on the rise, and he can't really afford to take a loss right now. He's got that momentum heading up, so I think Neville will take that one. In the Divas Championship match, you have a triple threat match with Nikki Bella and Paige and Naomi. Paige is returning. She has been out taping the Santa's Little Helper movie that WWE is producing with The Miz. So she's been off taping that, and this is her first match since returning. Well, first pay-per-view match. And when she left to go film the movie, the storyline was that Naomi had, Paige won a Divas Battle Royal to be the #1 contender for Nikki Bella's championship. After the match, Naomi turned heel and basically beat Paige down and, quote unquote, injured her for storyline purposes. And that's how Paige was able to go off, film the movie, and Naomi became the new challenger for the championship. And so, with Paige coming back, that's pretty much, the look of how, she's coming back for a little revenge on Naomi, but at the same time, she wants that championship. And she proved that last week when she came out to basically save Nikki Bella from a beatdown with Naomi and Tamina Snuka. She came out, saved them, beat off the heels, and then attacked Nikki Bella. So showing that, yeah, I'm here to save you, but I'm also here to take your belt. And I think that Paige will retain. I think she will take the belt after this match. And I think she will walk away as the champion. It wouldn't surprise me if they kept it on Nikki Bella. And the only reason I say that is because at some point, I really hope they do something with sister versus sister, and Nikki Bella's sister being Brie Bella. I hope, because they just kind of left that feud and didn't really have a finish on it. And I'm hoping that eventually, this might be the pay-per-view where they start building something for SummerSlam. And I really hope that that's something they're considering. Let's see. The Intercontinental Championship. Daniel Bryan just recently had to vacate the title, and it's like eerily similar to his last year, where he had to vacate the WWE Championship because of various injuries, and he was out for a good while because of surgery, things like that, rehab. and it's basically the same kind of thing as hit him again. So he had to vacate the championship. And with that vacated title, they're having an Elimination Chamber match for the Intercontinental Championship. And in this match will be R-Truth, Dolph Ziggler, Sheamus, King Barrett, Wade Barrett, Bad News Barrett, whatever you want to call him, and Ryback. Oh, and Rusev. And I mentioned Rusev last because as of last night's SmackDown, which was taped on Tuesday, Rusev apparently has some sort of lower leg injury. I don't think they've actually announced what it is just yet. I think they're trying to see what the severity of it is going to be. So there may be a chance that they have to work an angle and replace him with someone, which I'm reading. When you read online and you're researching, you see that someone may be Bray Wyatt, and that would be, that would be something if he was in that match. I think that his character is going up and down so much. He's getting momentum, then he gets beat at a pay-per-view, and you're like, okay, well, they're supposed to be calling this guy the new face of fear, but I mean, they're not giving him a chance to gain some victories. And his recent win over Ryback at the Payback pay-per-view, hopefully that kind of ascended him to a little bit of a momentum builder. And if he gets put in this match, I hope they give him a chance to, kind of shine and see what he can do. I personally believe Sheamus, the Celtic Warrior, as they call him, will walk out of this as the Intercontinental Champion. They're really trying to build up his heel run right now, and I think holding a championship like this would really do something for that. The Tag Team Championship will also be another Elimination Chamber match, which I'm very excited to see because I want to see how they work it. Now, Elimination Chamber match, for you that don't know, 2 guys start off in the ring, and there's 4 other guys who are locked in this little glass chamber out on the outskirts of the ring. And every 3 or 4 minutes, they allow another superstar to come in and join the match. But that's for individuals. I'm really interested to see how they're going to work this tag team. Are they going to put both the tag team members in the chambers while the other 2 are are going at it? It's going to be very interesting to me. But in the tag team championship match, you have the New Day, who are the champions, Los Matadores, the Ascension, Primetime Players, Lucha Dragons, and Kid and Cesaro. I personally think this one could have a chance to steal the show. All these guys are really good performers, and they're very exciting, very high energy, very all over the place. The Lucha Dragons, they literally are just the best when it comes to high flying action and off the top ropes. And with the Primetime Players, you have 2 powerhouses. The Ascensions are powerhouses essentially. New Day has powerhouse in Big E, and also 2 kind of high flying superstars like Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. You got to see how they're gonna do that. What 2 are gonna be in this match? I'm assuming it's gonna be Big E and Kofi, but you never know what they're gonna decide on that. I don't really know how to call this one. I believe somehow, some way, the New Day will retain. I think they're wanting the New Day to have a long, lengthy run as champion, and as heels as well, because they started out as a babyface faction. The fans didn't take to them, so now they're playing that up, and they become a heel faction. I think that the WWE really wants that to take off at this point, because they're doing a very good job at playing with the crowd and being the heels that they now have to be. So I think that they're gonna retain here, and somewhere around SummerSlam is where they'll lose the belts to another team. Let's see. United States Championship match. John Cena, United States Champion, versus Kevin Owens, who is not right now the NXT Champion. A couple weeks ago on Raw, Kevin Owens came out and accepted, well, not really accept, but John Cena has been having these open challenges on Raw, where he lets anyone from the back come out and face him for the United States Championship. Kevin Owens on this particular night happened to come out, said it wasn't to challenge him, it wasn't to challenge Cena for the belt, but just to say that they would have a fight at some point, and like the true heel that he is, Owens suckered Cena in when he wasn't ready, and powerbombed him, and it was a real. So it was a big time moment. The fans got into it because it was the shock value. You wouldn't expect the NXT champion to come out on Raw and take down the face of the WWE like that. So that's going to be an interesting match. I personally believe John Cena will win, but I think there'll be a bogus finish. There'll be some kind of disqualification on Owens' part because they're really trying to just build him up kind of like a Brock Lesnar, just a powerhouse. They're just a big bully type guy that just beats down on the little guy. In the main event, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match, you have Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose, two former Shield members. I know a lot of people are hoping that one day the Shield will get back together. I don't know if that'll ever happen. It would be cool to see because I thought that faction was very good and very over as they were with threesome with them two and Roman Reigns, obviously. But this match has the capability to be one of the better matches on the card. I think both of these are very good performers. I don't expect a title to change hands here. I think Seth Rollins will retain. I think continuing on with this heel run that he has, and being part of the Authority, I think the Authority will have something to do with his retaining of the title. I think that they're going to keep this run going for him until at least SummerSlam, where I expect Brock Lesnar to be back and to, go after the championship once more and kind of be a babyface when he comes back, which will be easy because he's right now probably a sympathetic figure the way they did his suspension storyline, which was a way to get him off TV for the time being. But this may be the moment where Brock Lesnar comes back. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if that's the way they go with it. But all in all, I think the Elimination Chamber has a chance to be a very good pay-per-view. It's going to be broadcasting live from Corpus Christi, Texas. It'll be on the WWE Network. But yeah, that looks like going to be a great pay-per-view. I'm excited for it, and I'm looking forward to Sunday. Just like I said, I've always been a fan, and now it's just more about the entertainment. I love the storylines. Just the entertainment of it all. Just something to take me away from reality for a minute, and I think that's kind of what the WWE is for me. Well, that's gonna bring us to our next and our final break. When we return, we'll talk a little world news. We'll jump back into the Baltimore riots that continued over the Memorial Day weekend and give our thoughts on that. And we'll also give our review of the lip sync battle from last night. And but that'll be all on the other side. Thank you all for listening, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Mackay T Show podcast. In the world news, obviously the Baltimore riots have been in the news here for the last month now. There's been really, really bad rioting because of the death of Freddie Gray, controversial death of Freddie Gray. over the Memorial Day weekend, those riots and the silliness, the craziness continued, and there were 29 people shot, 9 dead. Let's see some of the other notes that I saw, and just from listening to the news broadcast. City officials are expected to ask FEMA to fund around 75% of the cost to rebuild the city, which means that we, the taxpayers who have nothing to do with this foolishness, are going to have to pay to rebuild their city. And police in Baltimore are kind of almost at a loss on how to handle things, because it's not so much a loss, it's more of a fear on doing the wrong thing. Because if they have to show some kind of force, to stop to stop certain things, they fear that if they touch anybody in the wrong way, they're going to lose their job, or even worse, maybe even lose their life. I mean, it's crazy going on in Baltimore right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be an officer out there right now, and a lot of, I think that's a predominant, or it's almost a majority black area. Right. At some point, the black humans have got to have somebody to come out and lead by example. And it was nice, we talked about Ray Lewis and Carmelo,
right,
saying whatever on their videos. But somebody in their neighborhoods that they know and respect has got to come out and rally these people and get them to understand that you're doing yourself harm, and this is not the way to get your point across.
Right.
Like, just destroying your city is not beneficial for you at all. Now, you are, most of these neighborhoods, I'm going out on a limb. I've never been to be more, but most of them I don't suspect. I mean, they probably have some decent areas, but most of them where all this is happening, probably not the best areas anyway, so you're just making it worse.
Right. There's just too many different ways peacefully to protest.
For your voice to be heard.
Right. There's other ways to do it besides just acting like plumb fools out there in the streets and burning up police cars and just getting all in the face of police that's in there in riot gear and shouting and spraying on them and just doing the silliness that the ridiculousness that you see on the news. And like we said before, media will sensationalize the mess out of stuff, but it's just seeing the pictures and watching the videos, and you just think, what's wrong with those humans? Like you say, humans.
The humans. They back at it. The aliens are looking down like, why would we want to ever reveal that we exist? Because if they come to where we are, they're going to destroy whatever we have. Because besides that, we found the way to destroy everything as humans.
Right. And
I say we because I don't do everything right as far as trash, and I probably had some kind of help driving my car, destroying the ozone layer. But
not old Jetta.
Right. Old Jetta. Even though I passed my emissions test, look, the probably still has some kind of hand in it. But again, it's got to be some leadership, and it can't be in the churches. You just can't tell it to your church congregation, because a lot of them probably don't go to church.
Right.
So you got to get out in the streets, and this is your opportunity to do what Christ will have us do, and that is to be out among the people.
Yes.
If you read the Bible, not making this no religious thing, but if you read it, you understand that Jesus was hard. He went to the temple a couple times, but he was always somewhere where people could, with the common man.
Right.
With tax collectors, which people didn't like at during the time. So, he wasn't just in the church and telling his disciples this, that, and the other, and just saying, okay, well, that's the end for me. These pastors and these people that are heroes in the area or whatever, they're going to have to come out and do something, or they just going to keep acting enough.
Yeah, I mean, something has to be done. Somebody needs to step up and be the first, because it's going to take more than just them, but they need to jump in there and be the first to be heard and get this turned in the right direction. But
because gonna be a while before the case. You know, they talking about they was bringing the people to justice and they was filing for murder, whatever, second degree murder, whatever.
Right.
That's gonna take a long while. So it's not like tomorrow they're gonna come out and say, all right, we found them guilty. And God forbid if they come out and find them not guilty. So, or they give them a lesser charge, or they take the plea bargain down. Yeah. So.
Well, on a you know, to switching gears to a lighter note, a happier note, and somewhat somber, sad, because it is our last lip sync battle review of the season. It's our last one this season, and it's very sad because I love lip sync battle. And last night's episode is definitely one to finish on because it was a good one. Last night they had Marlon Wayans of the Wayans family against Queen Latifah.
Oh no! What did they sing?
Okay, well, your first round, Marlon got to go first, and he did "Happy" by Pharrell, and in true Marlon Wayans fashion. You know, the first round I usually don't do too much. He changed the game on him. He was bouncing around and sliding up and down the floor and all in the crowd and just playing it up big time. And you know, he was right there. You know how Pharrell is in the song, in the video. If you've ever seen the video, he's all bouncing around. He's getting after it. Well, Marlon had that little hat on, and he was, you know, he just being himself basically, and it was having a good time. And you know, I thought he was great to open it up like that. Queen Latifah's.
What the Queen do?
The Queen did In Vogue's "My Lovin'." You're never gonna get it.
Oh, never ever gonna get it. No, you're never gonna get it.
Yes, and she in true Queen Latifah fashion, she did a very good job. She played the crowd up. She just, it was a good song for her. It fit her. The song fit her. You know, female vocalist, obviously, with In Vogue, it just fit her. It felt, you know, did well.
Oh, my first mistake was I wanted too much time. I'm sorry, I just had a moment.
Oh no, you did. Go ahead now. Go ahead. Jumping into the second round, Marlon Wayans started off with "Stay With Me" by Sam Smith. And I was nervous when the song started. I said, "Oh God, don't do no slow song. This the second round of the lip sync battle. Please don't do no slow song." He did a slow song, but he made it like a spectacle. I mean, he had, you know, obviously, you know, they always in the second round bring out backup dancers and stuff like that. Backup dancers came out there dressed in all black, and he was just playing it up. He was all in the front row with the girls in the front row, you know, playing with them, and you know, he jumped on LL Cool J and Queen Latifah a little bit, and I mean, it was just, you know, he's just a comedian, and it's the truest form. And first of all, let me just tell you how Marlon's ended. Okay, he ended, and you know, LL Cool J in the second round always turns and asked the one who was sitting out what they thought about the performance. Well, Queen Latifah said, you know, she started acting like she was getting emotional and saying how, you know, it was so good. You know, he did such a good job, and then she just cut herself off. She cut herself mid sentence and was like, "I'm fixing to smash you. I'm finna get you." And basically just telling him that she about to take this. All that nice thing she was saying didn't mean nothing because she was about to take this down, and she did. She came out there in a red jumpsuit with a gold chain and did "Rock the Bells" by LL Cool J.
Oh Lord, and LL was up there grinning from ear to...
I mean, she walked out there with this big oversized boombox and just had this red jumpsuit on, gold chain, like I said, and she rocked the bells. And LL actually got up off his stool and was singing the song in the background at one point. I mean, he was so shocked.
So long, been stubbing like mother for a Cool J song. Oh, wait a minute. I'm all right.
No, I mean, he literally, like, he was stealing it so much, and you could tell he was shocked because he didn't have no idea she was doing it. And he jumped up and he grabbed the mic and he was in the background just singing, and she was lip singing herself. Needless to say, Queen Latifah took home the title. It was not without controversy, as you know. Marlon acted a fool because he didn't win, and at one point he steals the belt, takes the belt. Chrissy Teigen, who is down out the booth, I ain't real sure what her job is. She's kind of up there like a DJ.
She'll probably be fired next year because I don't know why she over there at the bar.
I mean, she's
serving
just
nobody.
Right, and she's up there, but she came down obviously, to hand off the belt. Well, Marlon steals it. She literally has Marlon in a headlock. I mean, just wearing him out and takes the belt back from him. It was a good episode. It was very, very everything from start to finish was enjoyable.
When I get back to y'all side of the world, I'll have to watch it.
Oh yeah, I forgot to let them know that. Well, we knew from last episode that you would be down in Florida, so you were broadcasting from Florida.
Out with the palm trees, and Mickey Mouse,
and sweating to death on the balcony at the hotel.
Yeah, it's on the balcony, coming to you live from the Marriott.
Well, T, I think that's going to wrap up our final episode this season.
Well, this has been fun. It's been entertaining for us in a way. We always like to laugh, and even if we laughing at ourselves.
Right. Which we can do just
fine.
fine.
For you guys to see what we have in store for you next season. Every time I look at it, I just feel with joy.
Oh yeah. T is referring to the cover art for next season. The YouTube cover art. We will be announcing that after the publication of this particular episode. So as soon as this one goes live, I'll post on our Twitter page and my BMAC Productions Facebook page. I'll post the cover art for next season so everyone can enjoy that as much as we have.
I feel with joy every time I look at it. God bless you, Macaroni.
I told you I had a surprise for you.
I know. I was like, what did he do with that picture? Look, I was like, is he posted on one of the YouTubes? I was like, I know he did not.
Well, that's going to be definitely enjoyable. And next season, we're going to kick it off around college football.
Yeah. We're going to have fun talking about more human foolishness with these football players, because I'm sure it's plenty to happen. Plenty to get excited for people going 7-0, and then they fizzle out and all that good stuff.
Right.
Hopefully the Gators will be better. God, they were terrible. Go ahead.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, and hopefully a couple of times next season we'll have a little money in the budget and we'll be able to do some broadcasting together in the same vicinity.
Right.
But that's
Shout
all.
out to SEC softball.
Yes, Florida Gators.
Women, they've been doing work. The Gators and the other team. The SEC that made it to the World Championship.
Yes, and then the baseball.
And them, that's good.
And the baseball.
How many did we get in baseball?
There was Ole Miss and there was Florida and then the rest of the SEC teams that made it.
Okay, I didn't know that the Rebels made it. Way to go.
They did. They moved on in there. Yeah, got it tight end. Go Gators.
And go Gators.
Well, I think that's going to be a wrap for us, everyone. Thank you all for listening and tuning in this season. And we will make an announcement in the next couple of months on when the official start date for season 2 will come about. But just thank again, and like always, I am one of your co-hosts, Brian McKay, and I am with
T Davis.
And this has been the Mac and T Show Podcast.